All right. Thank you, teachers. Welcome back. I apologize about that internet difficulty. You know how it is sometimes. Internet is a little bit spotty. So we left off from where we discussed, differences between characteristic traits of fiction and nonfiction. And this is where I just want to see that if you guys truly solidified the characteristic traits of fiction and nonfiction. So we were going over Mutt Dog, and you guys, this is a fictional story, and I want you guys to be able to identify two traits of how do you know that Mutt Dog was a fictional character. And just a fictional story, and just to review, Mutt Dog is a brave and fast and a gentle and loyal and smart, but he's also very hungry and lonely, and he doesn't have a home. Then one day, he discovers a shelter for people who are as cold and as tired as he. And at last, he meets a friend who might just be able to help. So he goes through, he's a homeless dog, and he lives on the street. And he found a lady who works at a homeless shelter that took him in for a night and fed him and kept him safe. And as much as she wanted to keep him, she knew she couldn't. So eventually, at the end of the story, she ended up wanting to adopt him, and she did. And he felt very safe. He no longer had to look for food, and so on and so forth. So I know because we're having technical difficulties, so instead of writing them, would you mind writing in the chat box two traits that would tell you, that would identify Mutt Dog as being a fictional story? It doesn't have to be long. It just has to, I just want to make sure that you guys understand the difference between fiction and nonfiction traits, so that way you can take that back to your classroom and teach the lesson for the story for the students. All right, Amy said that it has story elements. Okay, that's one trait. And Rachel said that it has color illustration and has plot and has a plot. Very good. Can you guys tell me one more trait that tells you that it is a fictional story?
I was typing plot, but Rachel beat me to it.
Yeah.
It has characters.
Okay.
Characters.
Erica. Okay, I can't spell today.
Okay, but Rachel said that it has characters. Okay.
Mhm.
And Amy, do you have one more?
I bet it has a beginning, middle, and end, like the story flows.
Absolutely, it does. It has a beginning of the story where the dog is homeless, middle where he gets adopted by the shelter lady, and at the end, he finally feels safe. Very good. Good job, you guys. Thank you so much. Now, the second book is a nonfiction book. And again, I always wanted to compare apples to apples. So the fictional story of Mutt Dog is a story about a dog. In this nonfiction book, I like Labrador Retriever, and again, it's talking about Labradors. So again, I'm not gonna read the whole thing to you, but I will show you a couple of pages in here. And it goes into, the story goes into, is a Labrador Retriever right for you? Has illustrations, or I'm sorry, pictures. And then I'm gonna fast forward to the end of the book. Here's this page and this last page.
Mhm.
So it has various traits that will definitely identify to distinguish that it's a nonfiction character. So in the chat box, would you guys mind writing two nonfiction traits that definitely identifies I Like Labrador Retriever as a nonfictional book? Okay, Rachel wrote that it has photographs and captions, and absolutely, and caption is a big part. And Amy wrote it has table of contents and labels. Yeah, absolutely. Those are the big distinguishing different characteristics difference between fiction and nonfiction. So thank you so much for sharing with that information. And before we end this PD, I do want to share with you one more thing. Can you guys see this screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. So earlier in the PD, we read the story about Bad Kitty and Favorite Pet Cat. And because it is something that I always tell the kids, because it's not a story that I wrote and I took snippets of it, and you have to give credit where credit is due. So this is what we call a reference page, just so we can give the authors the credit of writing the story, and it's not something that I just copied. So Bad Kitty was written by Nick Burrell, and Favorite Cat was written by Christina Lee. So this is where I would teach the older kids on how to use a reference page. So thank you so much again for attending this PD. I hope you are took away a lot of information and that you're able to apply it in your classroom of teaching the students between differentiating between fiction and nonfiction. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.